My ability to shoot the gift made them say that I'm gifted. No drugs, but it's dope what I scripted. Like AI, practice I skipped it. Scolded a skeptic, decoded the scriptures, behold it, I'm epic. Not that label, touch the sky like the Tower of Babel. Still debating if it's fact or fable, as if it matter. The new gold and silver is data. Information about the habits that have us spending money so lavish, as if material is status. The confusion is real, intrusion inside your mind.
Boxing,
beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better.
Just went back to my post-fight breakdown of Galia Yafai's loss to Francisco Rodriguez. Check this out.
I've been in this game for years.
Galia Yafai, his record fell to 9-1 with 7 inside the distance. His opponent elevated his record to 40 wins, 6 losses, 1 loss, 1 draw, 27 inside the distance. Rodriguez post-fight said, "We felt the only way to win was they had to steamroller Galia." Yafai did well to get to the final bell, but as Eddie Hearn said, this was a man talking about Rodriguez who would not be denied tonight. The engine was incredible. Yeah, it was off the chain. It led to a lot of people speculating whether he was on something. This is what I was saying, right? Did Galia box his best against Francisco Rodriguez? No. But I had people on the hangout saying his defense was bad, blaming Robert McCracken. And I'm pointing out to them, this guy broke the record for punches thrown by a flyweight in a 12-rounder. It was documented. There's only so much defense you can do in a fight. You can't always blame coaches. He threw a phenomenal amount of not just punches, but hard punches. And now, the Voluntary Anti-Doping Association informed Matchroom, the World Boxing Council and the British Boxing Board of Control that Francisco Rodriguez, who put the first L on Galia Yafai's record, has turned in an adverse analytical finding as part of the post-fight night anti-doping test following his bout with Galia Yafai on June the 21st, 2025. The matter will be handled by the British Boxing Board of Control and the WBC. Hey, listen. No disclaimers. Is there a problem with Mexican boxing and their boxers popping almost 3 to 4 boxers popping a year sometimes? Francisco travelled from Mexico to the BP Pulse Live Arena, Birmingham, and relieved Galia Yafai of his WBC interim world flyweight title via 12-round unanimous decision. In a grueling battle, Galia was knocked down in the 12th, and there was arguably some knockdowns that could have been ruled against Galia that didn't register. People questioned whether Galia's corner should have pulled him out earlier, and I questioned that too. Galia lost his WBC interim position. There was a lot at stake. Once again, who implemented 2 layers of testing? Which promotional outlet? And put the likes of Frank Warren under pressure? Why aren't you using 2 layers of testing? Matchroom. And that's how this guy got popped. It's even worked against Matchroom when Conor Benn got popped. Because let's face it, UCAD is underfunded. It's not they're incompetent, it's underfunded. And when there has been 2 layers of testing implemented, VADA have caught the vast majority of boxers. And that's how this motherfucker's got popped. Galia Yafai responded to the news via Matchroom's Instagram post saying, "Effing disgusting. Something needs to change very soon." Understandably, he's outraged. I mean, it's going to be little consolation to him because it's a major setback. He's in his 30s. But at least he knows he didn't lose to a clean athlete, and the result will likely be changed to a no contest. Technically, he'll still be an unbeaten fighter.
Boxing,
beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better. Boxing,
beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better.
Big up True Media Podcasts.
They all fake. They all smile in your face, talk behind your back, talk bad about each other. And then you expect me to sit here and fake the funk and give you an interview when you don't even like me, when you don't even like the person next to you. You know what I mean? You just dealing with them because y'all make money on content.
It's amazing you say that because there's a lot of stuff that go on in the background that a lot of people don't know.
So Fred from Barbershop Conversations is saying that Terence Crawford is a fraud because he had a baby with a woman who he didn't have his previous kids with. And it's all because Terence wouldn't give him an interview. It was Fred and a group of other individuals. They was all in a group. I don't know if they still are in that group. They were calling him names, implying he was a slave. They were making less than flattering content about Terence Crawford. And it got pretty nasty. And I remember Terence's sister constantly defending him against these individuals. And for some reason, some of them can't see why Terence has an issue with them. I don't get that at all. I saw some of the content. I had a debate with one of that group's members. And when I challenged the way they approached matters like this, not this specifically, he said, we're not a monolithic group. Just because one person says it, it doesn't mean everybody agrees. And for him as a grown man to use that as an explanation, like let's say you're in a hate group that violently attack a certain type of person and someone challenges you, well, why you were in that group? And you're telling them, well, I don't agree with what they're doing or what they're saying. What sense does that make? How can you explain that to them and it makes any sense? You're not a monolithic group. Just because he does that, it doesn't mean the rest of you do that. You wouldn't say that, would you? You would want to detach yourself from the situation. You see, they were pro Errol Spence, but they just took it too far, just like Terence did in the ring when he ended Errol's career. On occasion, I listened to some of Fred's videos, but that one just made him look a little bizarre, I have to say. Not that he cares, but it was very bizarre. He was talking about Terence Crawford like he was his dad. Having children out of wedlock is not a crime in our society, and he's a man of means. I'm sure kids are not going to go on welfare, be raised in a bad neighborhood or anything like that. But my advice, if you're doing media, is any boxer or person in the business that you have alliances to, that you support, when you go out there doing interviews at pressers, at weigh-ins, media days, if you don't at least attempt to give off the impression that you're neutral, objective, and then the people you're associated with are using horrible language to address certain individuals, how do you think that's going to go for you when you want interviews, when you want access to content? And Fred is someone who addresses the behavior of black men, and he tries to come off like, I'm not like them, but he sounds totally irrational. He might have other issues going on in his life, to be honest with you. It's not making no sense. Mike Coppinger went on the attack. He's been at odds with Shakur Stevenson recently. Shakur taking shots at him during an interview they had. And Mike is saying the reason Shakur is not the main event is because he's been booed out of the arena in his last two fights. And obviously he fights William Zepeda this Saturday defending his WBC lightweight title. Zepeda said the pressure is on Shakur. I didn't manage to see the video to hear his explanation why he thought that was. Now I don't know if Shakur is under pressure, but this Tom and Jerry thing hasn't went away. There was people asking me to stop talking about it when no one else has stopped talking about it, but I should stop talking about it. Shakur appeared to be determined to fight his fight and not be persuaded otherwise by anyone. But what's the truth? After the Times Square card, this is all they spoke about: shrinking the ring, no more Tom and Jerry fights. And it's basically now the narrative surrounding his fight with Zepeda before a punch has even been thrown. So he can say he's going to fight his fight, and he should fight his fight, and I believe he will do, but it might be in the back of his mind that if he doesn't perform in a way that the media, the fans, Turkey do not approve of, he might not get a decision. Could it play into Zepeda's hands? It's definitely been getting to Shakur. He's fired back at Mike Coppinger, he's fired back at Turkey, he's fired back at the media. I don't think it's a case where he might try to get aggressive and take more chances than he normally would. I don't think it's a case of that. I think it's just a case of the constant mention of Tom and Jerry fights. Could that be a distraction for Shakur? I shouldn't think so. I think he's too professional for that. Are certain parties pushing for Zepeda to win? Has this mass hysteria about Tom and Jerry fights been designed to fuck with his mind, hopefully disrupt his game plan? I shouldn't think so. I believe his hands, fragile hands, are the biggest threat to him not getting a W against Zepeda. Zepeda, if he throws as much punches as expected, it should be a competitive fight, unless he's extremely inaccurate. And if he throws so many punches, the counter-punching opportunities for Shakur will be abundant. He should be just too quick, just have too much different looks for Zepeda. But when someone throws that amount of punches, it doesn't matter if he doesn't look good against Tevin Farmer. Could be controversial, where they're saying Shakur was more accurate, but Zepeda outworked him. A few people analysing the fight spoke about Shakur going to the body of Zepeda because he's a good body puncher, and going to the body to perhaps protect his hands. Well, if that is a potential scenario, if Shakur changes the levels to go to the body and has to crouch down to throw body shots, he could leave potential counter opportunities for William Zepeda if Zepeda's did his homework. And that is true, but Shakur doesn't normally throw without feinting, making sure his head's off the line, and he has extremely quick hands. But I'm going to pick Shakur tentatively.
Boxing
Beats and rhymes.
no one can do it better.
Carlos Adames is a decent all-round boxer and had good upper body movement, used his feet to cut down the range pretty well. These are things that Edgar Berlanga is not good at. Edgar has power in either hand. He's a big, strong super middleweight, and he's dirty. Headbutts, biting, elbows, whatever he can get away with, he's good to go. Now, Shiraz performed very bad on Riyadh's season against Adames. He got a draw, but Adames should have been given the W. Shiraz was lucky. Let's leave that there. But nobody was scrutinizing his performance as to say he shouldn't be back on that Riyadh stage. What I'm trying to get from you people who have this big objection on running, and it's fair enough, that's fair enough. I'm not saying that ain't fair enough. But see, the thing with me, you got to be consistent. You got to be consistent. If your argument is for no running, what about someone who just doesn't throw any punches? Sheeraz, Ryan Garcia, Canelo. Shiraz is one of Turkey's favourites. Turkey keeps talking about Tom and Jerry fights. If Shiraz wants to stay in the good graces of Turkey, and I better please him, just remember, he's not a coach. He can get you the money, but he can't necessarily get you the W with his Tom and Jerry mantra. Shiraz needs to stick to the science of boxing, using his jab and tenderizing Edgar, and not necessarily going for the kill unless he's fully tenderized and ready to cook. The only way he gets beaten by crude Edgar Belanga is trying to please the crowd and please Turkey, which would be stupid. If he gets in a brawl with the shorter Belanga, he's going to be exposed to them big hooks, and Belanga hits on a different level to Tyler Denny and Carlos Adames. Find yourself on the canvas, left or right hook, you get in a brawl with Edgar and his Brooklyn bullshit.
That Brooklyn bullshit, we on it.
Will rough up Shiraz, and he's not going to win a brawl with the densely set, dirty, rough, hard-punching Belanga. Stick to the boxing, and more than likely, Edgar will run into a 1-2, get dropped, get hurt, get cut up, get swollen. Keep the punches educated. Don't be swinging wild hooks and shit unless it's safe to do so. But I don't think he's going to fight that type of fight. This is a winnable fight for Shiraz, but I don't know if he's going to fight the fight that makes it winnable. So this one's up in the air. Andy Lee is extremely important in this one. I'm rooting for Shiraz. That's what I'm rooting for. The pick is up in the air. I don't think this one goes the distance. Andy Lee as a fighter and as a coach, the principle is to set up that knockout. But you need good defense in there. Andy, when he fought, was capable of pulling a knockout out the hat, even if he was down on points. But his defense wasn't always the best. I'd be more confident of my pick if the card was taking place in Riyadh. But this is in New York. But I'm going to pick Shiraz to win the fight. And that's it. I'm not going to say but, trying to like cover my pick if it goes wrong. I'm going to pick Shiraz.
Boxing
Beats and rhymes.
no one can do it better.
My ability to shoot the gift made them say that I'm gifted. No drugs, but it's dope what I scripted. Like AI, practice I skipped it. Scolded the skeptic, decoded the scriptures, behold it, I'm epic. Not that label, touch the sky like the Tower of Babel. Still debating if it's fact or fable, as if it matter. The new gold and silver is data. Information about the habits that have us spending money so lavish as if material is status. The confusion is real, intrusion inside your mind, the delusion of will. At least the free part, most of society under hypnosis. Quiet your mind and meditate, that's the closest you might get to reality in the 2020s. What's the real value of that printed money? Is it the gems inside the continents or confidence? Compromise or fear consequence, or some agreement at a conference? It's hard to tell when it's done on such a large scale. Independent thinking these days is such a hard sell. The House and Senate's like a cartel. And fuck a critic, I don't spit it less it's heavy as a barbell. None of these platforms be using their voice to speak on anything real. It's an illusion of choice, like Democrat, Republic. 100 years school, same subject. Even though technology's changed and ain't working, so it's obviously lame. Up the lane we see pain and violence, which consumes the brain. They wonder why, but do they really wonder? They see the lightning, but they shocked when they hear the thunder. That's a conundrum. I go hard when the drum come. Life is short where I'm from, so if I hit, give me the lump sum. Fucking annuity, I flow fluidly. I only really do this shit as a gratuity to the true heads. Those who love the art form, to see them nod at their heads, it makes my heart warm. But even if they bounce to a trap beat, I still can ride that shit like a driver of taxis on back streets. Fuck the facts, B. If it get traction, they spread it. Just for clout, they put it out with the lies embedded. Never fact check who said it. And even if it's false and go viral, they let it. Man, we in a different world. The Wayne and Whitley. The slope we treading on is slippery. They depict me as a terrorist or a savage, but the cloth I'm cut from the rarest of fabrics. I'm so used to the slander. The propaganda is profitable. Living in reality's optional. Masculinity ain't in vogue now, and she ain't go to school but respect her. She got the moves on the pole down. Might just throw my hand and fold now, but I'm one of few left. Feel like my job to hold down the principles we call hip-hop we was raised on. The fight against the trash that the suits get paid on. The pay for PlayStations it plays on. The young innocent minds that get stalked and preyed on. The blocks that our kids get sprayed on and drugs distributed. You know the ones the fiends are made on and grandmama's house decayed on. I wanted to turn the mic off, but those the reasons it stayed on.